The sterile white walls of the London hospital seemed to close in on her, cold and merciless, as if they too had abandoned her. Amelia clutched her swollen belly, the sharp scent of antiseptic stinging her nose, and blinked away tears that blurred the harsh fluorescent lights above. The man who had promised to love her forever, the billionaire husband who once whispered dreams of eternity, had just walked out of her life when she needed him the most. He left not with an excuse or an apology, but with the cruel finality of silence. Outside the hospital doors, his limousine sped away into the rainy night, leaving her stranded in pain, fear, and betrayal. At that moment, Amelia thought her world had ended. Yet little did anyone know, the same night she was abandoned, her story of unimaginable strength had only just begun, and one day, she would walk back into that same world, not as a broken wife, but as the woman who now owned his entire empire. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of destiny, then please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Royal Stories. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts. It truly helps us keep sharing these powerful journeys with you. Amelia had grown up far from the glittering towers of London's financial districts. She was the daughter of a modest schoolteacher and a florist, raised on values of honesty, love, and resilience. When she met Alexander Sterling, the billionaire heir to one of Europe's largest real estate empires, she had not fallen for his wealth, but for the way his eyes softened when he laughed. Or so she believed. Their love story had seemed plucked from a fairy tale. Lavish trips, diamond promises, and the world at her feet. But what Amelia didn't realize was that fairy tales, in real life, often come with darker twists. When she discovered she was pregnant, Amelia thought the news would bring them closer. Instead, Alexander grew distant, restless, as though the thought of fatherhood shackled him. She convinced herself it was stress, the burden of managing Sterling Global, the sprawling empire his late father had left him. But when she went into premature labor one stormy evening, Alexander's true self emerged. He arrived at the hospital, his face hard and unreadable, muttered something about not being ready for this responsibility, and walked out. He never looked back. Those first nights were the hardest. Alone in a sterile hospital room, Amelia held her newborn daughter, Sophia, close to her chest and whispered promises. She swore to give her a life filled with love, even if it meant walking through fire. She had no fortune, no grand house, no protection from the ruthless gossip that swirled around her. Tabloids mocked her as the billionaire's abandoned bride, painting her as a naive fool who had been used and discarded. But Amelia did not let those words define her. Every time she looked into Sophia's innocent eyes, she found a reason to keep going. With the little money she had, Amelia rented a tiny flat in East London. Days blurred into nights as she worked multiple jobs, teaching piano lessons, writing articles under a pseudonym, and managing online freelance work. She slept little, ate less, and poured everything she had into raising Sophia. Though life was brutal, Amelia held on to one truth: she was not broken. She was bending, reshaping herself, becoming stronger. Years passed, and with them came opportunity. Amelia had always been sharp, with an eye for numbers and a gift for strategy. While working late nights, she began studying the real estate industry that Alexander had abandoned her for. She read books, enrolled in online courses, and learned everything she could about markets, investments, and property laws. Slowly, she built a network of mentors and investors who respected her determination. Her breakthrough came when she noticed a neglected property in the heart of London. A crumbling Victorian block that everyone else dismissed as a money pit. Amelia saw potential. She took the risk, poured her savings into it, and transformed it into a thriving boutique residence. Word spread quickly about the young single mother who had an uncanny eye for spotting hidden gems. Soon, wealthy clients sought her advice, and investors lined up to work with her. Amelia's company, which she humbly named Sophia Homes after her daughter, began expanding beyond London into Europe. Meanwhile, Alexander Sterling, blinded by arrogance and poor judgment, was watching his empire crumble. He squandered resources, made reckless deals, and surrounded himself with people who cared only for his wealth, not his success. He believed Amelia had disappeared into obscurity, never once imagining that the woman he had left behind was quietly rising, brick by brick, into a force more powerful than his crumbling empire. Amelia never once sought revenge. Her goal was not to destroy Alexander, but to create a future where Sophia would never feel the sting of abandonment that she had endured. Yet fate has a way of writing its own poetry. One morning, as Amelia signed papers in a gleaming office overlooking London's skyline, she realized something astonishing. Her acquisitions, expansions, and partnerships had positioned her company as a direct competitor to Sterling Global. In fact, whispers in the market said Sterling Global was on the brink of collapse, and Amelia had the chance to buy it out entirely. The empire Alexander once abandoned her for was about to fall into her hands. When the deal finally closed, Amelia sat in silence, the weight of destiny pressing down on her shoulders. She, the woman once discarded like yesterday's news, was now the sole owner of Sterling Global, and as cameras flashed and reporters clamored for a statement, Amelia held Sophia's small hand and simply said, "This isn't about revenge. This is about building a future on love, not betrayal." News of the takeover shook the city. Those who once mocked her now hailed her as a symbol of resilience. Investors admired her courage, women drew inspiration from her strength, and even Alexander's closest allies distanced themselves from him. As for Alexander himself, he was last seen fleeing the city, stripped of his fortune and reputation, forced to confront the wreckage of his choices. But Amelia did not gloat. She stood tall, dignified, carrying herself not as a victor, but as a survivor who had turned pain into power. Her focus remained on Sophia, ensuring her daughter grew up knowing her worth, unafraid to dream and certain that love was not about wealth, but about loyalty and heart. Years later, when Sophia asked her mother why she had forgiven Alexander in her heart, Amelia answered softly, "Because forgiveness frees us, my love. And I wanted to be free to build, not chained to his betrayal." And so, Amelia's story became more than a tale of heartbreak. It became a lesson whispered across boardrooms, families, and friendships, that the deepest wounds can be the birthplace of the greatest strength, and that no empire, no matter how vast, is stronger than the heart of a woman who refuses to give up. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs inspiration today, and don't forget to subscribe to Royal Stories. Every like and comment encourages us to keep bringing you powerful and emotional journeys like this one. Special request to comment. Tell us in the comments, what part of Amelia's journey inspired you the most?